Today on the Unofficial Podcast, we go over the Broncos' loss to the Steelers in the Steel City. The Broncos went into Pittsburgh. They end up losing this game 27-19. Does Pat Shurmer need to open things up for the offense? It's getting ridiculous. We've seen it, the same crap for 5 weeks. Open it up for Teddy. You can do it. BYU loses to Boise State. You do this. You win a whole bunch of games, we get up in the top 10 or like top 15 in the country, and then you blow it. It's time for the Unofficial Podcast. Welcome, one and all, to episode 5 of season 3 of the Unofficial Podcast. I'm your host, Dallin Smith. This episode, we're going to be talking about some Broncos loss. We're going to be talking about BYU loss. It was a bad weekend. It was a bad weekend overall, and I'm not very happy with BYU. I'm more happy with the Broncos because there's things that we could talk about that they can look at this game and kind of improve on. BYU, there was no excuse, but we'll talk about that here in just a second. The Broncos went into Pittsburgh, lost the game. It's been a long time since the Broncos have won at Pittsburgh, if I understand correctly, but I don't remember. They end up losing this game 27-19. They just didn't play very well. Let's be honest, they got off to a slow start. The Broncos have had just a bad habit of doing this bull crap week in and week out, and it worked in the beginning because they were playing bad teams. Like let's be honest here, they were playing some bad teams, and so they could suck against the bad teams. It was just something that could happen. But it was not a good thing. I was not very happy with that, but I was happy they at least tried to come back with that. It's really bad when in the middle of the week, Teddy Bridgewater comes up and says, we have to be better. We have to do things better, which I think they can do it this week. We'll get into that here shortly, but man, the defense was terrible. The offense was better than it had been. And I want to discuss this. Who was at fault for the loss? Because I get like mixed things. A lot of people are blaming Teddy Bridgewater and want to see Drew Lock. Saw it on the DNVR podcast today. I saw it on Facebook. I saw it on Twitter. I saw it freaking everywhere, dude. It's like, look, man, I understand your frustration, but it's not Teddy Bridgewater at all for his fault or fault for this loss. You're all going to sit there and tell me that Teddy Bridgewater is the problem in this game, and I got a reply, which is the dumb tweet of the week. We'll just do it right now. That said, no, because of his skill set, the Broncos lost. It wasn't his skill set, man. If you watch the game at all, the Broncos, when they went on their incredible run to come back and try to tie this game or to win this game, if this freaking defense would have stopped Pittsburgh, we would have had a shot. But no, they decided not to on the last drive. Like, it wasn't Teddy at all. How was this Bridgewater's fault? Like, for real, I just don't understand what goes through your mind to be like, yeah, this is Teddy Bridgewater's fault. Yeah, he's got limited skill set. He got the ball down the field. We scored 2 touchdowns in like 4 minutes. It ain't his problem. His problem. It's not the receivers. I don't even think it was the defense, to be honest. The defense didn't really help. And they played a crappy Pittsburgh offense that was struggling, and you decide to make them look like they've been doing this great all year. It wasn't the offense's fault. I'm sorry. Like, you could pit them out of that. And same with Bridgewater. What happened, I think, for this offense, and I think the guy you can blame for this game with how they started out slow is Pat Shurmer. You have to open up Teddy a little bit more, Pat. Like, it's getting ridiculous. We've seen it, the same crap for 5 weeks. Open it up for Teddy. He can do it. Did you not see that perfectly thrown pass to Cortland Sutton for a touchdown, his first touchdown of the game? And he also threw some strikes to Hinton, which, by the way, he's becoming a stellar wide receiver, even though he was a quarterback. He started for the Broncos in that Saints game last season. Open it up, Pat. You have to do something at this point, because I'm getting sick and tired of watching the Broncos stall to have the defense try to bail them out to the point where, okay, now we're getting it on track. Now we're going. Now we're opening stuff up. Open crap up. I just don't understand you. Like, you did some great play calls at the beginning of the year, and then all of a sudden we're playing good teams. You're like, no, we're just going to try to take care of the ball. That's not going to work. How in the world, in what world is that going to work? You know what I'm saying? Like it just doesn't make sense to me. You know, you can't just sit there and have your cake and eat it too. You can't do that. You have to get things open for the Broncos earlier on in the game. Take some deeper shots. Take 20-yard throws. And then start getting the run game going. Because here's the problem. You're pounding the ball until finally they broke one, which Williams spiked the ball, which I think is so stupid that was a unsportsmanlike conduct penalty. Let's be real here. The kid was excited. He broke out one of the longest runs of his young career, and you get pissed at him for that. It's just, that is so dumb, and it's incredible that you even called that. Like, why are you calling that at that point? It's just annoying, and it's like, come on, man. You're pounding a square peg into a round hole at that point. Get the passing game going, and then run the ball. That's what you should do. Well, what you should do. Let's look into this week's game, which is the Broncos and Raiders. And I think because of the situation, I am going to talk about the John Gruden situation, because I'm not going to talk about the Adam Schefter thing, because I think that's stupid. He sent an email, and Adam Schefter was in trouble because he sent an email to somebody from the Washington football team being like, "How do you want me to report this?" Whatever. I don't care about that. Like, I don't do that as a reporter, because obviously, I don't have that kind of know-how or anything like that. But at the same time, I'm just not going to do that. That's not me. But yeah. So there was, and let's just talk about this before we get into the Broncos and Raiders preview. There was reports coming out last week that John Gruden had sent emails to some guy on the Washington football team. I think he was the president. I don't remember his name. Some racial slurs, some homophobic slurs, and pictures of topless women in an email. Also, he questioned Roger Goodell about trying to keep players safe. John Gruden then proceeded to coach against the Chicago Bears, where they lost 20-9, I believe. And the Raiders lost. Monday comes around, more emails got leaked. So the emails that I mentioned, the email that I mentioned with the homophobic slurs and all that other stuff, did not get leaked out until Monday. And so what happened was Roger Goodell was telling, the owner of the Raiders, I forget his name, I'm sorry. He's got a bad haircut. It's like, dude, you need to get a better haircut. Me, my hair's messy. I'm not wearing a hat right now. You can't see it. Because, by the way, just as a point, I'm actually not going to post these podcasts anymore as parts. It's going to be the full podcast going on YouTube. So you're not going to see my face for a while. But yeah, what I was saying is he could have fired John Gruden or suspended him right when he heard about the racial emails. I'm not going to repeat the stuff that was said, because I think it was disgusting what John Gruden was saying, and I don't talk like that. He can talk the way he wants to. That's his right. I'm not going to go for it. That's stupid, and I don't like that. You could have fired the guy, but nope. Roger Goodell had to step in, send out more emails with the homophobic slurs and all this other stuff. And it's interesting to me. The thing that pisses me off is not only is John Gruden a racist, like fully a racist, homophobic, and kind of misogynistic, and doesn't care about player safety because he's an a-hole, but the NFL, but the Raiders didn't do anything about it until flipping Roger Goodell had to step in. Like, what are you thinking, man? Like, for real. That bothered me the most because it was like, he did it. He's doing all this stuff. And you're sitting there not doing anything about it. You didn't do a thing about it, man. Like, why are you doing, like, it doesn't, I don't understand this. The Monty Show went into it a little bit. And I'm not going to say that that's the full thing. And I'm not going to talk about that fully because I don't want to get into politics and all this other stuff. But what are you thinking? You think the NFL is just literally going to be like, nah, we don't want him into the... Like, if they're a corrupt organization, because that's kind of what you do when you're corrupt, is you find these back-end emails and send them out. And even if he did say them, I still think that there's an issue here and it needs to have been dealt with. And it was dealt with super slow. That's my opinion. You let this Fetcher, coach a game where the players, one, are not respecting him, and two, are just not, like, they're not going to trust the guy. And I fully understand that. I've heard quotes where people said, well, he doesn't seem like that kind of guy. Come on. Like, you're going to tell me that just because he doesn't seem that way, you're not thinking he is that way? I bet people were. I bet, everybody on the team was thinking that way. And so that's why they lost. And I'm not saying that's how the Broncos are going to win on Sunday. Look, the Broncos have just got to go take care of themselves. Don't worry about this thing. And you cannot go into this game expecting the players to be like, you know what? Fetch these guys because we're not going to work for them. Because they're friends with John Gruden. The rest of the coaching staff. Fully friends with John Gruden. You can't. You can't fully expect them to do these things. It's so annoying that this even happened. But to even let it go on that much is so stupid. So stupid. I'm done talking about that. Let's talk about the game Sunday. So, the Broncos, you need to get off to a faster start. The defense needs to really confuse Derek Carr. The offense has looked great for the Raiders, which is one thing I'll mention about John Gruden that you feel bad about. They were having a great season up to this point, and then John Gruden fetched it up for them. Good job, man. Good job. And good luck getting any job in the NFL, you freaking idiot. I'm done talking about that now. But the Broncos just need to get off to a faster start on offense. Look, Pat, just open up things for the Broncos, please. If you can open up things for the Broncos, this defense isn't that good for the Raiders, and you should be able to get as many points as you want. So, yeah, that's what I would say to do. And then defensively, you just got to confuse Carr and stop the run game. You could stop this offense, the Broncos are going to win this game. Because that's the thing. The wins that I've noticed, and I've watched some Raiders tape, the defense is not doing much, and the offense is making a killing. I'm going to pick the Broncos to win this game 24-17. I think they're going to win by a full touchdown. We'll go 4-2 and Thursday Night Football, which I'm going to do a freaking show that day as a preview for that because it's the only primetime game Denver gets the whole freaking season. It's annoying and it's against the Browns. It's stupid. But yeah, anyway. Let's move gears here. Let's change gears, not move gears. Change gears and talk about the BYU Boise State game. I don't want to talk about it, but we're going to. BYU played Boise State over the weekend and lost the game 26-17. With some boneheaded mistakes, which don't blame the defense. I saw that all over Facebook. The defense played fantastic. The offense didn't do them any favors. You have 4 turnovers in a game and 3 of them fumbles. You shouldn't expect them to win. And you're giving up like I think it was 38 yards they had to get their 2 touchdowns, Boise State. Yeah. The BYU Cougars offense stalled hard Sunday. And I'll tell you the reason why here in a second. But Jaren Hall came back, played pretty good. Couldn't run the ball, so the offense was ineffective. And this is my theory that I took from somebody, the Monty Show. The running backs are trying to do too much. Players are trying to do too much. And they fumble the ball. And don't sit there and tell me it was the rain. That's stupid. Do not make excuses for your team. I hate that so bad. This is something that BYU fans do. I don't do this as a BYU fan. Tyler Algier had one of those fumbles. Do I still think he's one of the best running backs in the country and will be in the Heisman conversation at the end of the year? Yeah, I do. I still do. But I'm not going to sit there and make excuses for him. He played like trash on Saturday, and the whole team did. I was so pissed my wife had to leave the house. That's how mad I was at the game. Like, BYU does this every year. Every year, even last year. You get off to a good record, you're confident, you get cocky, and then, we're going to play a game that we should win. Because, yes, they should have beat Coastal Carolina last year. Let's be honest. And I wish I would have talked about that. But my mindset was not correct, and I was a little bit immature last year when I started the podcast. Now I've got my maturity level up that I can talk about this stuff. Like, why do you do this? Every year, you do this. You win a whole bunch of games, we get up in the top 10 or like top 15 in the country, and then you blow it. Happened in 2014, happened 2015. It's happened so much. So much. And it's so annoying. And the thing that bugs me the most, I can't watch BYU TV after this because they're owned by BYU. I can't listen to the radio because, it's fine. It's not fine. It's not. You screwed up. And you didn't ask the questions because you're afraid that maybe it's written in your contract or something that you didn't ask the tough questions to Kalani Sitake, even though he came out and said it was my bad. That's one thing I love about Kalani. Now that being said, we're not going to talk about this other thing. We'll talk about this thing first before we talk about the thing I have written first. Kalani, you are the best coach, in my opinion, to be at BYU since Lavelle Edwards. I'm telling you, he is better than Bronco Mendenhall. Even though, there's a legacy there and all that bullcrap, blah, blah, blah. We'll get to that in the Virginia podcast. What the hell were you thinking starting Jaren Hall? I don't mean to curse, but what were you thinking? He was 50% at best. And you think, he's going to beat this defense with his arm? They were crowding the box the whole game. Boise State. With like 10 guys. Because they knew Jaren Hall couldn't do it. They knew it. So if Jaren Hall couldn't do it, then why are you sending him out there? Why are you sending Jaren Hall out there? I don't understand it. You had Jacob Conover, 4-star recruit, decided not to go to Alabama. Come to BYU. I get it. He went on his mission, all that. Why aren't you playing him this game? If you're trying to do that. If you're trying to beat Boise State with the quarterback's arm. Tyler Algier ran better when Conover was in the game 2 weeks ago. lest I not remind you. Like, are you joking? Why are you starting him? And this is the thing. I'm not going to sit here and have everybody blame Jaren Hall for this loss. It was not his fault. It was not his fault he should have been out there. Why are you doing, why do you do this, BYU? Why? Why, Kalani? I understand you're a loyal guy, and I understand that Jaren is your quote-unquote number one. Why is he playing at 50%? Don't give me he's 70 or 80. He was not 80 or 70. If he's 80 or 70, he could run the ball and do his RPOs and beat you with his legs. He didn't do that. He didn't rush once Saturday. Yeah, he got out of the pocket a few times and made a couple plays. He didn't run the ball. So what are you thinking? I just don't understand it. And this goes back to last week when I said, I think Baylor Romney should be the starting quarterback. Because Romney is not limited in throwing. He can stand in the pocket and take a lick and still throw it. He can stand in the pocket with it perfectly clean and deliver a good ball. Because then it's like, oh darn, for defenses. We can't load up the box. So now Algier has time to run. The receivers can get open down the field. Yeah, he hit some long bombs on Saturday. Jaren Hall did. But he wasn't ready to be out there, and you decided to play him. So freaking stupid. I'm not saying you're stupid, but it was stupid to do that. My gosh. All right, let's talk about this topic that came up. Is the season over for BYU? No. Season's not over for BYU. We're not getting to the college football playoff. I already said it, I think, 3 or 4 weeks ago. If BYU is going to get to the college football playoff this season, they had to go undefeated. They're not undefeated. Here's the thing, though. You still got a chance. A very slim chance because Alabama lost. But you still can fight for a New Year's Eve 6 bowl game. You can still fight to get recruiting before we get to the Big 12. This is huge right here. The whole country is going to be watching you again Saturday on ESPN2. You need to go out there and say that loss to Boise State was a fluke and go beat the ever-living snot out of Baylor. That's what you got to go do. Even if you just win by 4 or 1, you need to go beat Baylor and be like, you know what, see? Boise State's not better than us. They got lucky. And that happens sometimes. You got to go do that. No, you idiots that sit there and say, the season's over. It's not over yet. You're dumb. That's it. So we'll talk about BYU Baylor. Look, BYU, Jaren Hall is supposed to be 100% healthy. He needs to run the ball. Or you're going to see the same thing this week that happened. The defense has got to pick it up. Their quarterback, Baylor's quarterback, has not thrown an interception this season. Well, we have a quarterback that hasn't either in Baylor Romney, which is, again, a reason why he should be starting, but whatever. I'm not the coach. I just talk about it and get mad. So Baylor just got to play some solid defense. Get those chunk plays, get some pass plays down the field. Get the run game going, and BYU is going to be just fine. Their defense isn't the best, so you should be able to do stuff on them. They played good defense one game. It was against Oklahoma State. But Oklahoma State is not very good on defense as well, but they had a good game against them. We got to take away the run game as well and hold to their wide receivers. That's what you got to do. I'm going to pick BYU to win this game 31-24. Statement that Boise State game was a fluke. We'll go to Washington State and win that game. And then we'll go from there against Virginia, because that's the only other game besides Baylor that makes me nervous until USC. And even USC doesn't scare me that much anymore. So, all right, well, I don't have any good things this week. Nothing good happened this week in sports for me. And there was a lot of scandals that happened, which is stupid. But the bad, starting Jaren Hall against Boise State was a mistake. The ugly, both teams lost. That really sucks. All right, well, I appreciate you all listening. Oh, by the way, 64 people, I've got 64 5 stars and almost 200 views just in the past week. Downloads. I appreciate everybody who has come out to the podcast. I'm trying to work hard to get this thing going so that, maybe this could be something viable in the future. But I appreciate it from the bottom of my heart. I'll see you all next week. Hopefully, we'll see a 6-1 BYU team and a 4-2 Broncos team. Oh, by the way, I'm going to plan on doing 2 podcasts next week. One to preview the Jazz season on Wednesday, and just one talking about this week's NFL and college football action. So stay tuned for that. See you guys later.